Now, I'm not even going to pretend as if I'm not a victim of this question that a lot of guys have growing up. And that question is, does going to the gym actually get you more girls? And honestly, it's quite an interesting phenomenon, especially if you're someone who has no experience with working out, or you're someone who still hasn't seen like a great body transformation, or rather a glow up, right? If you want to call it that. And it's a question that rings in your head for a very long time. And I'll tell you this, up until you actually go through that transformation yourself, it will be very difficult to quantify how much that change could impact your dating life, right? Up until you actually do it for yourself. So now that I've gone to the gym for 2 years, and if someone was to ask me the exact same question, I will say yes and no. But if I had to pick a side that outweighs the other, right, I would say the yes is strong in this case. So let's say if we're using like a weighted scale, I'll say the yes is a bit heavier by, let's just give the yes a 65 and then the no a 35. So yeah, to an extent it actually does. And I'm going to break down why I'm saying this using my own experience and things I've seen as well. So here's my 2 cents on the topic. Firstly, I want to believe, and I would like to say that the gym with regards to increasing the point scale. So for those people that actually like rating people with regards to being conventionally attractive, those people that rate people out of 10, I would like to think that going to the gym has a bigger impact on the 8 and below. Why? Because I feel like if you are already seen as a 9 or a 10, there's not much you can really do. Like 10 is the highest number you can get, right? But I feel like for anyone that's 8 and below, there's a chance to break into a higher level. So I feel like if you're an 8 growing up and you start working out, eating right, taking care of your skin, taking care of the way you smell, working on your confidence, things along those lines, you can definitely bump yourself up from an 8 to a 10 over a good number of years of working on yourself. And other things to pay attention to is also the age at which you started that transformation. Obviously, if you're younger, then you still have to go through puberty, you still have to grow into your mature body. So it will definitely take more time. But if you're, let's say, probably from the age of 23 to 25 plus, it'll probably take you 2 to 3 years of working on yourself for you to bump up that number within the 1 to 2 points extra. So what I'm saying is, if you are a 5, it'll probably take you 2 to 3 years of working on yourself to become a 7, right? By your standard. Okay, so one thing I also need to clarify and point out is that men and women are different with regards to the way they approach the process of picking a partner, right? You understand that women are not as simple as men with regards to gaining the attraction of someone. Whilst I will say that being conventionally attractive will put you through the door, right? Especially for men. Because one thing you need to realize about men is that most of the time, or at least 99% of the time, right? If I'm being completely honest, as a guy, you know within the first second of seeing a girl whether or not you're attracted to her. Like, you don't need anyone to tell you. You don't need to ask or confirm this with another man or another girl. Deep down, you already know. As soon as you lay your eyes on that woman or person, you instantly know whether or not you're going to find them attractive, right? And as a result, if you do find them attractive, then it's almost like a primal feeling or this urge not to necessarily lust over someone, but to want to hunt, right? And by hunt, I mean like opening up a conversation, going to say hello, trying to figure out a way how you can tiptoe around her so that you can get her attention, get her number, and probably take her out on a date, right? This is how men naturally operate. So for a man, it's very difficult for him to want to talk to you, especially with regards to starting a romantic relationship, if he doesn't find you attractive, because to him there's almost no point. So this is why you might notice that a girl can fall in love with a man that's not necessarily conventionally attractive. Why? Because you need to understand the thing about women is that they have so many doors with regards to becoming attracted to a man. A woman can literally be attracted to a man who is a nerd, who is passionate about whatever craft that they're into. Someone you'd probably be shocked to see that woman with. And I promise you, she will be head over heels for that guy. And it will never make sense to you because, especially for men, because we have just one way of gaining attraction to, towards women, and it's usually by the way they look, right? This is why you see a lot of women that will confidently say, I prefer personality over looks. But you rarely hear a guy that says that and genuinely means it from the bottom of their heart. Because what you need to realize about most guys is that your personality catches a man's attention, but your personality keeps him there, right? But with women, whilst being attractive or conventionally attractive can make it easier for you to get through the door, it doesn't guarantee that she's going to fall in love with you, you see. So what it does is maybe she allows you to play in the playing field, but now you are now on borrowed time because now she's paying attention to you and what you're doing. Like, are you able to quote her and are you able to tap into the other things that she needs from a guy, right? Besides your looks. Okay, so now we've gotten the whole wave of how men and women, build relationships and the things that motivate them to even start talking to someone. Now let's break it down. Back to the question. Does going to the gym actually get you a girlfriend? Or rather, can going to the gym increase your chances of getting a girlfriend, a long-term partner? Or does it only work with short-term relationships, or it doesn't work at all? Now, these are my 2 cents, right? From what I've seen, and partly from experience as well, is that one thing going to the gym does, right? And I can say this with confidence, is that it opens up your playing field with regards to like age ranges, right? So one thing I realized is that before I started going to the gym, or before me and my boys started going to the gym, is that we were stuck within like a similar age range of maybe at most plus 2 years and minus, 2 years as well. So what I'm saying is at the age of 21, we would probably attract those that were like 18 to at most 22, right? So this is for the guy that's not working out. One thing I noticed, especially after going through a transformation, like a gym transformation, is that you stop looking like a kid or a boy, right? And as we know, women are naturally attracted to masculine men. So one thing I've noticed is that because of that change in physique, you naturally start to look like a protector, right? Because women love men who can protect them. So as a result, like I said, you notice that even older women also don't mind coming down to you. Why? Because you don't look like a kid anymore. So it's actually something very interesting that I noticed, right? And you'll be surprised with how far you can actually go up the scale, right, for most guys. So I can definitely say on that part, going to the gym does help with making you look more masculine, right? Why? Because you've got maybe your jawline's kicking in, your shoulders are kicking in, your biceps are kicking in, your legs are kicking in, hopefully. If you're black, yeah, you're gonna have a harder time, but yeah, you just have to do what you have to do. So yeah, that's something I definitely noticed, which was interesting. Okay, so another thing we need to understand is that there's something called the female gaze, right? And then there's the male gaze. So most men naturally assume that if you want to attract the most girls with regards to the physical attributes, then you have to get as big as possible, right? So looking like either Ronnie Coleman or Sebum. This is what most men naturally aspire to get to, although most men will never ever look like that. But naturally, most men would assume that the guy with the biggest muscles gets all the girls, of which that is the furthest thing from the truth, right? The female gaze is a bit different. You realize that it favors, guys that have an athletic build. So looking at football players, basketball players, soccer players. I know soccer is also called football, I'm sorry. But I just needed to show you guys the difference between football with regards to American football and the traditional football that we all know, right? and rugby players to an extent, right? So those type of players and movie stars as well, most movie stars can definitely fit into the female gaze. So luckily for you, it's going to be nearly impossible for you to ever look like CBAM or Ronnie Koeman, no matter how long or hard you train, because these guys have amazing genetics, and the amount of dedication and hard work that it takes to look like that is insurmountable. And unless you're competing, you're not going to find the time to do something like that, right? Especially if it's not a passion for you. So you're in luck. So what does this mean for you, the guy who started going to the gym? Now, like I said, the process of the body transformation, your face shape and all of that, it takes time, right? So you're probably going to start seeing the differences with regards to the attention, right, from the opposite sex, probably kicking from like year 1.5 to 2 years. So I'm talking about people being attracted to you based off your physique, right? Remember, this is the whole question. Like, does going to the gym help in giving you a girlfriend, right? Okay, so let me just conclude by saying this. What's going to increase is your ability to walk through that initial attraction door, right? Because like I said, you have a masculine essence that you have built as a result of working on yourself. Your jawline is chiseled, you have the shoulders, your back, your biceps have kicked in, right? So naturally, what happens is it's noticeable, even if you're wearing shirts and a nice pair of pants. This is why it's so good to actually start wearing clothes that fit you well, so that they show your physique with or without clothes. Well, although the without clothes is for you and your girl. Sorry, you and your wife. You and your wife. But yeah. So while getting a girlfriend requires you to have extra attributes like personality, behavior, and all other things. So this is why I say I can't really say it helps you to get into a committed, fruitful relationship. What it does do is it increases your chance or the opportunities that you're presented with. So as a result, we all know how probability works. The more chances you get, the more likely you're going to hit that goal. So in a way, eventually, if you work on the other things, it actually can help you chances of getting into a committed relationship. But obviously there are the things that you have to work on. But with regards to the attention and the ability to walk through the door, that's definitely going to increase. So if you're done wondering, or if you're tired of wondering on whether you making this decision to work on your fitness can help you in a social setting, just book a call with me and let's see how I'm going to help you with the fitness journey.